43 to 43.
Right. Well,
So that could mean a huge, sweep in of Republicans, at the midterm, and that could change the whole ball game.
yeah, it has prospect, and I saw today Romney's raising a lot of money. Um,
Yeah, and he's going around. He was on Larry King Live, and
oh yeah.
all of a sudden he's visiting all these shows. So I think he's gearing up.
And it,
And
a sensible economics-based person might, that people, we may
I
all say, hell,
know.
Now we really need
And
somebody who knows
somebody
what's
who's
going on.
actually run a business,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
a real CEO.
We've had we're about to have our winner of the popularity contest crash the country, and so yeah.
I know. What do you
So
think of Sarah Palin?
Sarah,
Uh-huh.
well, as I say, I went to see her, and it was a grand turnout, but. Sarah needs more and she needs more experience. And I think the fact that she got cast into that role, had she been truly supported, it would have been, made a change in the game. I don't think McCain was going to pull it off regardless. Unfortunately, I think he didn't team up with her or let her team up with him enough. And that first 2 weeks when they had her scripted and not just being herself, that screwed it all up.
I think so too.
She should have been left, if she would have been allowed to be her own rock star, then it would have been competitive, and we were all contrasting Sarah with Hillary,
Uh-huh.
and going, well, wait a minute, here's one really wonderful ethical person, and here's Hillary, and it was it was a dramatic comparison, but. Um, I don't think, I don't think she has enough experience to be catapulted into a presidential run for the next time. Um, I'm forecasting that it's going to take, um, it, I would suggest her to run for vice president again. I mean, get the experience. But
I think a Romney Sarah Palin could be wonderful.
now that would be a fine combo, because
Wouldn't that?
that would be an ideal combo. You have a woman, you have a mother, you have a guy who's got enormous economic background and common sense when it comes to money, and that's a brilliant combo. Yeah, that would.
Well, I think after all this economic disaster, I think it will be, and in about another 3 months, people are going to realize that nobody's at the wheel, and that's when it's going to get really scary. Is when the stimulus, all this money and all this printing, and banks are still failing, and there was an article in the Gazette today in Colorado Springs, and it was talking about the health of the local banks.
Yeah.
And one, of course, just got taken over by the Fed.
Yeah.
And but they had like the bank at Broadmoor,
Right.
and it had that their income went down 64% last year.
Last year. Yeah. Yeah. Not even this
Yeah.
year. Right.
I mean, that's huge.
It's
For a bank.
devastating. Yes. Right. Devastating.
Devastating. Air Academy Bank,
Yeah.
hugely down, 50-60% down in profits.
Right.
I mean, this isn't a healthy bank in Colorado Springs,
No.
and even the credit unions,
Uh-huh.
even Ant, which just ruled. Ant was huge.
Sure. Oh yeah. Sure.
Had just massive losses.
Oh God.
So I don't think he's going to be able to buy up all these toxic assets, and especially the way the country has turned so hostile because of the bonuses. And
Yes.
so, God, what is going to happen?
I was just thinking now that, if Obama can rule, first of all, he's going to ruin Wall Street, and then soon after, he will ruin Main Street.
We don't have an investment bank. There's
No,
not
there's
an
not.
investment bank left.
No. and there's no place for investment. And there's no place for white collar professional people to go now. Um, what are they going to do?
I know.
How are they going to stay alive? That's the and they don't represent a big fraction of the population, but um, it is very very tenuous the next few months because people are not. You cannot get used to being out of work.
No, I mean, you can't pick the paper up. I mean, every day it's like even FedEx,
Yeah.
just laid off a ton of people. Right after that,
Right.
what was it, DHL or whatever, the other one went out of business, and then the Postal Service says that they're just in deep trouble, and so I mean, there's not even anybody who can move a package, who is going to be able to move a package in another few months.
Yeah. One of the guys that works for me has a family. It's the same thing. He has a family in Mexico, and so I asked him the other day through a translator. I said, here he said I would give you a computer. He was talking about his kids and things. They don't have much down there, so they're down in southern Mexico somewhere. And he told me that you can't send anything in Mexico. You can't send a package in Mexico because it'll never get there. There is no package delivery in Mexico because everything gets stolen. Everything. So I went, wow, that's pretty dramatic. I mean, if you've broken down your commerce to the point where you can't send a package or even sometimes a letter. He said, don't send. People steal your letters, they steal your mail. He said it's just unbelievable how much stuff. Everything. You're just vulnerable to thieves day in day out down there. So tough going. So again, same thing here. If it gets to the point where we just don't have enough business to keep the jets flying full of packages, the ramp down cost will be large, but the ramp up cost would be phenomenal.
Well, and look at all your wonderful ideas. I mean, how in the world will you ever get financing for anything? The venture capital people. In fact, I had you in mind. I talked to a fellow who does kind of introduces, entrepreneurs to venture capitalists and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he does. It's called Pritchie Capital Group, and I asked him. He's moving back to the Springs from LA, and I've known him kind of casually. He's not a really good friend, more of a good acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, how's biz and whatever, and he said, I'll tell you what, it is getting tougher and tougher to find anybody willing to put up capital for venture capital.
Yeah.
And I think he's moving back because it's cheaper to live here,
Yeah.
and his family's here, and
Right.
I think it's just become very difficult for him to do business.
Yeah.
If you can't find venture capital companies to match up with venture capitalists.
There was this great expectation that the green movement was going to be funding everything like that. And I haven't heard a word through my circles of any money that's available for any of this. Excel gets money, the state of Colorado gets money to put up more demonstration, this and that, but down at the entrepreneurial level, I haven't heard of an extra dime being available
I
from
don't think
anywhere.
there is either.
No.
I think they're going to work on the grid a bit,
Yeah.
and that's going to be considered green. And in the solar people, I think will. He came out here and did his stimulus, science stimulus thing with that guy that put solar panels on the Natural History Museum.
Right.
And so there'll be a few kind of anointed ones that will,
Yeah.
get the bucks. And but I truly think the people who will get the bucks will be, acorn. They will just be green acorns.
Yes. They'll
And
I know, how dreadful. God.
I know how dreadful. And so I don't know. It's he could find himself with a lot fewer rich people to tax.
Capital is going to flee. I'm not sure where or how, but now that the atmosphere of punitive uh, uh, measures to smash anybody who's making a sensible profit on anything, yeah, that's going to ripple through fast, and it's going to paralyze. You say the venture capital people are going to be having a hard time raising any money. Really,
That's what Jerry said. He said, Diane, he said the venture capital money's just dried up.
right. And where's the real estate floor? That's the curious part, because without that, what is capital going to do? What if you have money? Until we hit a real estate floor, people are not going to say, well, I'll do something with my money.
Yeah, and they had Mary had a little open house on my house today, and
Yeah.
I've got such torn feelings. I really don't want to sell it. I love that
Right.
little house, and
Right.
it's just perfect to be up there, and there's just so little to take care of, and
Right.
it's just kind of a
It's
wonderful
a delightful place.
little
Gosh.
place,
Yeah.
pied à terre and
It
everything.
is.
But,
Yes.
I don't really want to sit on it if it's going to be worth, half as much in a couple of years with
Right.
this, continuing real estate slide.
Mhm.
I'd rather, park it in 2% CDs and,
Right.
at least preserve the capital and then rebuy something once it's, the slide is ended. But, I just don't know which way to turn.
Well, let us take the tack that we will assume we have to, that somewhere out there is a white knight just riding in our direction.
Oh God, who could that be?
There is someone who's going to have enough voice and enough. I mean, if Obama, out of obscurity and with